Hello and welcome back to the Monster Kid Radio on YouTube channel. My name's Derek M. Cook, the man behind the Monster Kid Radio podcast, where we celebrate the classic and sometimes not so classic genre cinema of yesteryear. I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. There's a button down below to do that. And, right next to that button, I think is where it's at, there's a bell that you can click to make sure that you get notifications every time there's a new Monster Kid Radio YouTube video release. Sometimes the YouTube algorithms kind of bury new stuff, and this is still a pretty young channel with not a lot of subscribers, so if you want to make sure you get your fix of Monster Kid Radio when I start doing YouTube videos on the regular, make sure you click that notification bell. So maybe even give us a thumbs up. I think that helps with the algorithms too, although I don't know how YouTube works, clearly, because I haven't done very many YouTube videos as of late. Well, that's going to change, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. We're going to call this the State of the Monster Kid Radio and a few other things with this YouTube video. There's a lot coming up in 2019, and yeah, I know that we're almost all the way through January, and I'm running a little behind. The whole New Year's resolution thing, that happened, well, as of this recording, 21 days ago. That's when it should have been done. Anyway, let's talk about 2019. Monster Kid Radio is not going anywhere. The podcast will continue to come out every late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. We have hit over 400 episodes right now, and I am nowhere near done. I'm having a blast with the show. I have fun recording it. I have so much fun editing it and then releasing it and making sure that you guys and gals get it. It's just something that I enjoy doing. It's part of who I am, and I don't see that ending at all. And I'm going to be bringing back some themed months. Now, we've done themed months in the past on the show, and we're going to continue those. Some of my favorite themed months that we've done were Lucha de Mayo and Dancember, and we're going to be doing both of those again this year in 2019. Lucha de Mayo, as it sounds, will take place in the month of May, and however many Thursdays there are in the month of May, you're going to have a new episode of Monster Kid Radio featuring discussion about a luchador monster or luchador genre film. So far, I've got one guy lined up, returning favorite, Frank Schildiner, an author y'all should be reading, really. Anyway, he's going to be joining me to talk about a particular film. Off the top of my head, I forget which one it is, but I have it written down and I'll put it here so people can see it. Anyway, Frank's going to be joining me, and then I have a few other people that I've been talking with and a few other people that I want to email about having on the show for Lucha de Mayo. And then we have Dancember, which takes place in the month of December, where we talk about Dan Curtis Productions. I had a blast visiting a lot of Dan Curtis stuff last December, and we're going to do that again in December, or Dancember 2019. And yeah, we'll probably talk about Dark Shadows again there, because really, you can't not talk enough about Dark Shadows. In fact, the Dark Shadows episode that I did release for this past Dancember, or January, because I was running a little late for other reasons anyway, I actually lost a recording. We had Steve Sullivan lined up, or recorded actually, to talk about Dark Shadows, and something happened to that recording. So we'll make sure we have Steve in the mix for Dancember 2019. Steve Sullivan's another author y'all should be reading, really. We are in awards season. Yeah, you've got your Oscars or whatever, but what we really care about in the classic monster movie community are the Rondo Hatton Classic Horror Awards. The Rondo Awards honor the best in classic horror scholarship and fandom, and anything that brings that classic horror or monster kid sensibility to basically anything happening in the genre. And right now, you can go to the Classic Horror Film Board's website and post your suggestions for the ballot. The official ballot will be coming out in February, and that's when voting will begin. I've already hopped over there and posted some suggestions myself. I'll make sure there's a link in the description down below where you can go in and post your own suggestions for Rondo Award nominations. That'll be happening next month. I'm eager to see what makes the ballot, because one of the best things about the Rondo Awards, yeah, it's awesome to be nominated, even more awesome to win. But one thing that I really love about the Rondo Awards, it'll give you a list of the best movies, TV programs, books, magazines, all these things that monster kids will love. And you can go through and see, okay, I saw that and I saw that. Oh, what's this movie? I missed that one. Oh, I didn't listen to that podcast, or I didn't read that article. It's wonderful. It's a great shopping list or a checklist to make sure that you're in the know and on top of all things Monster Kid and classic horror. Go check it out. There's even a place for you to suggest who you think should be the Monster Kid of the year, or who should join the Monster Kid Hall of Fame. I did suggest somebody to be added to the Monster Kid Hall of Fame. You'll have to follow the link in the description down below to see my posts in the forums to see who it was. Let's get back to podcasting. So Monster Kid Radio, not going anywhere. And we have the Plan 9 by 9 podcast in the works right now. We are deep in production of this podcast in the style of the Movies by Minute podcast. We're going to be talking about Plan 9 from Outer Space, 9 minutes at a time. We had a very successful Kickstarter campaign last year, and again, I'm blown away. I know I said it then, I'm going to say it now. I'm going to keep saying it. The support that you gave me and Scott on this podcast project, on this Kickstarter campaign, mind-blowing and something that not even Criswell himself could have predicted. So thank you. That show will be coming, and I see that happening in the first quarter of 2019. And then once that's done, Scott Morris and I have talked, and we want to bring back the 1951 Downplace podcast, which was the quarterly Hammer Films podcast that we were doing. It kind of pod faded. There were a lot of factors that went into that, and we are going to try to bring that back. That's something we have interest in doing as well. And then, of course, I'd like to do another Movies by Minute style podcast, but I'm going to keep that one under wraps until we get the Plan 9 by 9 one done, and maybe later this year we can make an announcement about that one. But it'll be a good one if we can make it happen. To bring it back to Monster Kid Radio, I do have a number of fun episodes in the can already. I think they're great. I'm currently working on the episode that you'll probably have heard by now because it's coming out this week. The episode will be talking about the 1970s film The Dunwich Horror, starring Dean Stockwell and his mustache, and I'm talking about it with Brian Clark. Also in the can, I have an episode on deck about the movie Two on a Guillotine. We're going to be talking with Tim Durbin about that one. And then Steve Turek will be joining the show to talk about the 1970s TV movie Gargoyles. And eventually, later this year, I'll be releasing an interview that I did with Dan Day Jr. about the movie House of the Gorgon. Now, if you're friends with me on Facebook, or Joshua Kennedy, or Veronica Carlson, or Caroline Monroe, really, House of the Gorgon, if you don't know about House of the Gorgon now, you're missing out. Go check out the trailer. It's on YouTube. Tell you what, I'm going to stay here for a second. Go ahead and hit pause. Follow the link in the description below. Check out the trailer, and I'll be waiting for you when you get back. Okay. Looks pretty awesome, doesn't it? Dan Day Jr. was on set because he's actually in the movie. He had a number of scenes with Veronica Carlson, and he was kind of just around and helping out when he wasn't in front of the camera. And to get his Dan's eye view on everything that happened while he was there during the production of House of the Gorgon is going to be fun, but I want to sit on that until we're closer to the release of the movie itself. Now, it does have its scheduled world premiere at Monster Bash later this year. We'll talk about Monster Bash here in a second. But as of right now, I'd actually be surprised if Josh Kennedy's actually here in the States right now. He may actually even be in an airplane as we speak, as I record, heading over to London because there's a special sneak preview happening over there because, well, the movie starred a number of legendary British actors and actresses. I'm just, man, I am so jealous that I'm not there, especially since I want to see how the crowd reacts to the sound work that I did on the film. I am so grateful that Josh Kennedy allowed me to work on the sound. It meant I got to sweeten some of the dialogue, play with some of the sound there, and then add a ton of sound effects, and then also do some sound mixing. When he gets back from the preview, I'm sure he and then Reber Clark, who did the score, and I are going to chat a little bit more about any changes or tweaks that need to be made to the final sound mix for the world premiere that's happening at Monster Bash. And then I'll go ahead and I'll probably release that Dan Day Jr. episode right before Monster Bash, just to kind of, whet your appetite for all things House of the Gorgon. Along those lines, I'm also lined up to work on Josh Kennedy's next movie. Stay tuned for that. That's going to be fun too. I've actually had a lot of fun doing sound effects. It's something that I've always had an interest in, and I'll probably record a little video about this down the line. But it's just been a blast going through and creating sounds, recording sounds, finding public domain sounds, and then manipulating them a little bit. It's just been so much fun, and getting into some more Foley work like that is something that I definitely want to look into doing later this year as well. So if you're hiring, I'm just saying. But until I do get a job doing something like that, I'm going to be doing it for myself with some audio dramas that I have in the works, some original audio drama productions. I'm going to be co-producing an audio drama adaptation, a modern-day adaptation of Manos, The Hands of Fate, with my man and yours, Chris McMillan from The Shadow Over Portland. He's announced it a couple of times, so I feel like it's okay for me to mention it here too. He's written an incredible script that updates it and then modernizes it and makes it just really cool and creepy, and I'm really looking forward to making that happen once he gets back from where he's at right now. He's out of town. Anyway, when that happens, I'll certainly be talking about it here. And then I've got a couple of original audio drama properties, as if they're already done. But original audio drama projects up here that I'm going to be working on putting on the computer, turning into scripts, and then maybe releasing later this year as well. I really had so much fun doing the sound effects. I want to create sound effects for my own projects, and I'm looking forward to getting into that. So I've kind of veered a little away from podcasting, talking about the Foley work and doing sound effects. So since I'm kind of veering away from podcasting, let's talk a little bit about YouTube. So the Monster Kid Radio on YouTube channel, which probably needs a better name, is not going anywhere. We're going to keep releasing videos. I've got to start my Catching Up with Paul Naschy series. I'll make sure there's a link to that video announcing that in the end card, and then maybe even a link in the description down below, where I'm going to be looking at Paul Naschy films because, well, I don't know that much about Paul Naschy movies. I'm going to be starting with the Frankenstein's Bloody Terror film, and then just kind of going as best as I can chronologically through his entire genre filmography, and that's going to be a blast. I've already seen Frankenstein's Bloody Terror. I haven't recorded the video yet, but sneak preview spoiler, I loved it, so stay tuned for that. Also, if you look at the Monster Kid Radio on YouTube channel, yeah, I definitely need a new name for that, you'll find that I've got another playlist called Comicstalgia. Now, Comicstalgia was something that I started because I wanted to talk about something other than classic monster movies. I know, don't hit unsubscribe. I'm still a monster kid through and through, but, I've got a few other fandoms as well. And one of them used to be comic books. I was a huge comic book fan. I think I single-handedly helped keep not one, but 2 comic book stores afloat back in the day when I lived in Cheyenne, Wyoming, because I was buying comics every week, picking up back issues. No, I wasn't very responsible with my money, but, I loved my comics. And over the years, I've kind of gotten out of them and gotten back into them and then gotten out of them again. Well, now I'm slowly getting back into them again. Not to the point to where I'm going to a comic book store every week, but I am checking out things online, looking at digital copies of comics and picking up a few trade paperbacks here and there. And of course, the Marvel films aren't helping me stay away from comic books. So what I've done is I've set up a new channel just called Comicstalgia. We're going to take the videos out of the Comicstalgia video playlist here on the Monster Kid Radio on YouTube channel and put them over at Comicstalgia and then remove them from Monster Kid Radio's YouTube on YouTube channel. Whatever. I'm going to get those off of there. So that way the MKR YouTube channel is more MKR specific. And then if you want to follow anything going on comic book wise with me, my fandom, being a lapsed comic book fan, you can follow me over at Comicstalgia. Just look it up on YouTube. It's there. There's 1 subscriber right now. It's me. I do have some videos in the works for that. I've been talking with a dear friend of mine, probably one of my oldest friends, and he's going to be joining me to talk about some things involving the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, maybe some Fantastic Four things. We just have to get some technology in place to make that happen, because he lives in Montana, I'm here in Oregon. You just have to figure out a way to make it work for YouTube. Finally, I want to talk about Monster Kid Writer. MonsterKidWriter.com is my quote-unquote official website. Why did I say quote-unquote and then do air quotes anyway? Anyway, MonsterKidWriter.com is my website address for my official website dealing with all of my writing stuff. Now, I haven't updated it in a little while, and that's because, the end of the year hit, and then January and things just kind of get crazy. Now I'm in get things done mode. I'm kicking things into gear, and you're going to see more updates over at MonsterKidWriter.com, as well as a release of an ebook, a collection of short stories featuring a character named Mark Temple. Mark Temple is a supernatural exterminator. It's modern day. He fights monsters. You're going to be seeing that coming out here very soon as an ebook. And then I'm also going to be working on a novel that I hope to have done by the end of this year. I'm going to keep mum on that one for now because I haven't actually thrown any words down for it yet. I've got outlines and notes, but let's wait until I actually start writing it before I start talking about it. And maybe I'll even talk a little bit about it on YouTube or on the website as I kind of track my progress. I think that might be kind of fun, maybe to look back on once it's all done, because it will get done. Did I just do finger guns? What? Anyway, that brings us to the end of this video. I've kind of rambled a little bit. I hope you're still here. I hope I haven't lost your attention. I am really excited about what's going to be coming in 2019. I have a number of personal goals as well. Making sure that things work out when I go to Monster Bash. Not that there's any question about me going, but just, having some product to sell and having a great table set up. That's going to be awesome. If you're not going to Monster Bash, man, you got to go to Monster Bash. Anyway, I'm looking forward to what this year has to bring for me, for my wife Brenda, for Monster Kid Radio, and, well, for you. What's 2019 going to look like for you? What things do you have in the works? What things are on the docket for you this year? I'd like to hear about it. Go ahead and leave us a comment down below. And you know what? I know a lot of the bigger YouTube series or YouTube channels will say that if you leave a comment within the first 30 minutes of this video going live, we'll make sure you get a response. I'm going to do you one better. If you leave a comment within the next week of this video going live, I'll respond. Once again, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, give us a thumbs up if you liked the video, and check out Monster Kid Radio at monsterkidradio.net, where there'll be a new episode every Thursday. And stay tuned for what's coming up here on the YouTube channel. Also, I'm probably going to get interrupted by my cat Wednesday right here. Ooh, okay. Hey. Hey, come here. Anyway, this is Wednesday.